Hey, good morning, sir. Hey, last we spoke, we talked about the idea of lethality and visualizing that. What I had done is taken PEO soldiers modernization strategy and then put it into the analyst software that I was using and the analyst approach I was using. So just to recap a little bit, last time it had been purely this is the PEO modernization strategy slide. I think you know it has down here their areas. Over here is each of their programs of record, and then down below are things that they are feeding into with it. So in this case, say lethality, you can see here's each of the programs of record, and then here's each of the technologies that are feeding it, and over here is all the sciences that describe those technologies and go into it. So in my space, what that translates to is a view that looks something like this, where over here I've got the different areas, soldier weapon concept, the precision targeting, and the weapon sights. Down here I got the programs of record, et cetera, all the way down. And then going up, I've got the technologies here. And when I go down this side over here, I pick up the sciences. And as we talked about last time, what's nice, you can trace out to see where I've got things that are supporting. You can find sciences that have one thing they support. So for instance, I can quickly see proximity sensors are tied into the technology of printable formable electronics, which feeds into advanced individual crew served weapon systems, which feeds back into soldier weapon systems for some PM. And as we talked about before, the idea of orphans popped up as well. But what you'd been interested in was the idea of me looking at a combination of the three. And I had done that right before the last time we met, and it looks something like this when I do that. And what I can see, let me just rip this out. What I'm looking at now is I've got the three now of those tabs. One's lethality, one's mission command, and one's mobility. Now I'm visualizing this, but I have to understand there's a fairly simple matrix mathematics that's underneath this that allows me to do a couple of transforms on it. But very quickly, I mean, without doing a whole lot of work, let me just pin these so they're out of the way for us. Pin all nodes. I can get these out of the way, and I get down to my concept areas again. So there's that soldier weapon system concept. I can trace back in and pull the precision targeting concept and pull back in and get weapon sights. Now I can see, without doing a lot of work here, just visualizing, but the math made it clear as well, that when it came to lethality is one of the contributing areas in the PEO soldiers area, but the centralized area is mission command. And why? Because it's in the middle, and as you can see, when I start tracing out from its sciences, this is sciences target identification, they feed out both into lethality and over here into mobility. So I can start picking up very quickly and doing the same exact thing. I can see where programs have overlap, where they have things that have no bearing on any other program. They're sort of isolates, and in this case, non-lethal systems has no bearing on anything that's going on in mission command. It appears to have no bearing on anything that has to do with mobility. Whether that's right or not, that's a program decision, but it is what I pick up in the data set that as I trace out and I get to that idea of individual non-lethals, it is a program that only exists over in the lethality section and has no bearing to any other part of the portfolio in PEO. So pretty simple idea. So the next, and I could do the same analysis we did. It's very interesting, and we can start picking out actually a lot of pretty cool things, clusters where sciences overlap and the like. And bottom line, very useful analysis. I can do more with you personally when we can bring the software live in front of you, but I think you get the idea. But then you asked a question about the idea of revolutionary and evolutionary science, taking the science-first approach. So what happened? How do we not miss something? And the session in DC was somewhat of a breakthrough in understanding for me, because as I listened to what the senior leaders were talking about, it became kind of clear when I looked at things like the PEO modernization strategy. They understood when we would put out programs of record, like over here, and then we could anchor out into the technologies, we could anchor out into the sciences. That was easy to grasp, and I think you've already got the data. To be blunt, that's a problem of analysis that I think MITRE will approach that is simple but it's going to take a lot of work. There's not a lot of creativity here because really the PEOs have done the hard work of looking at the programs that exist out to here. What happens though is, as you see, we get further out, we get terms like future concealment program, future ballistic and blast system. And the problem is the senior leaders can't anchor on that because it just sounds too nebulous. What I believe is that this is where the future casting, conducting those small arms workshops, conducting one for soldier protection systems or the like, that will anchor and create a realistic future or set of futures that then we can anchor on. That does two things. It gives a place for the sciences to anchor that are way out there. The second is, I believe we've got a problem when it comes to evolutionary versus revolutionary. It has nothing to do with the science. It has to do with cognitive readiness. I'd like to talk to you more about that on the phone. Thank you, sir.